We are at Pulaski Park in Holyoke, Massachusetts. It used to be called Prospect Park, but in 1939 its name was changed because a medical doctor said that there's so many Polish people in this area, they wanted to change it. Even before it was called Prospect Park, it was called Cary Park. That was informally, and that was pre-1886, the year it became a park. Before that, it was called Cary Park, Kerry. The reason why is because a lot of people from County Kerry settled in this section of Holyoke, and that was from 1848 onwards. And those settlers would come to this river here, the Connecticut River, and they would say it looks very much like County Kerry. They came from the western edge of County Kerry in Ireland, and there are peninsulas to both sides. And when you look at it, the mountain ranges on the peninsula look very similar to the two mountain ranges in Pulaski Park. And in Pulaski Park, you get a great view in the winter and in early spring with no leaves around. And you can see the mountain range, Mount Tom mountain range off to the left, and off to the right, you can see the Mount Holyoke mountain range. And in County Kerry, on the western edge, you have water that looks very similar to this with two mountain ranges on its edges. It's incredible. I've seen pictures of it only, and it's very, very similar. But as you look out here, you see the Muller Bridge, which from the late 1950s crosses over from Holyoke into South Hadley. And this Connecticut River goes north from here towards Northampton. It flows towards the south, and that flow is met by the Holyoke Dam nowadays. Also below our feet, you can't see it, but there's railroad tracks down there. It originally was called the Connecticut Railroad. And this river line follows the river from Vermont all the way down from Massachusetts into Connecticut. It was made in 1845, so it predated the park itself. Okay, our next view is going to be, now we're looking towards the east, still at the same outlook in Pulaski Park, and we can see along here there's an old wall. This wall was put up started in 1903, finished in 1904. It's not a very good shape. Even when it was made, it was not a very nice wall. It's a wall that was put up on concrete, and it's starting to fall apart, but even when it was made, people knew it would not last for very long. Now, the walkways here were all put in by the Olmsted brothers off of their plans. The plans were made in 1912 and implemented in 1915. The Olmsted brothers were the two sons of Frederick Law Olmsted, and this year, 2022, is the year of 200th anniversary of Frederick Law Olmsted's birth. And we had a tour in this park at one point, and the mayor of Holyoke declared in April that Holyoke would have a Frederick Law Olmsted Day. And he came to this park and he gave a speech. Now, the park itself also has many concrete pathways through them. All of them are laid out in the formula of the Olmsted brothers' designs, to the T. And it used to have only dirt trails, and they were very haphazard, random to their look, and those have changed, so they had graceful curves to them and nice concrete. And you also see many trees through the park, and I'll show a lot of them later, but those trees were also put in by the Olmsted brothers' design. Okay, so what we'll do is slide a bit over. Now you can see all the trees in the distance, a lot of maples and oaks, and these are original from 1912 to 1915 when the Olmsted brothers started coming around. They said plant certain trees in certain places, especially, and we'll go out to the stop later, along the edge of the park, there's an old road that used to be there, and the sidewalks are still in place, and the maple trees are all lined up, and you can see where the old road must have been. And we're going to slide a little bit further in this direction, which is towards the south. It used to be true at this park, there's 4 outlooks carved into the walls, and each of those outlooks had a different street come into the park. It doesn't have that now. Only Maple Street comes up into the park. But it used to be true that High Street, Maple Street, Chestnut Street, and Walnut Street, all lined up coming into the park. And it was great because parents could bring their children in on the cars and right at the edge of the park and get out and enjoy the park. All we see now is Arbor Way coming in, but it's cut by an apartment complex, and then in the distance you see Walnut Street. Okay, now a couple more points at this stop. Now in this direction here, there used to be the Holyoke Ice Company, where the park goes downwards. They were here from 1900 to the late 1940s, and at that point they sold it to the city of Holyoke. Holyoke put in a pool, and they had a big pool in this park. And that pool's gone. Then a tennis court came in, and then that was taken out. But I wish that at some point the city of Holyoke changes the edge of this park over so that its edge is cleared out and it goes all the way up to the old entrance that was on Lyman Street. That reached up to what's now Mitchell Field and Avery Field. It doesn't do that anymore. They did cut out a swath last year, but I hope they do a lot more. Okay, and the last point. Now at this stop, it's incredible because this particular outlook of the four was the one where they'd have a musical band once a week come in, and maybe a Friday evening, and people would come home from work and come out here with their kids, and there'd be hundreds of people right at this outlook, and there'd be a bandstand. There was a bandstand where the band can get on it, and they would play with their backs to the river and the mountain ranges. And so what the people had for a view was the mountain ranges in its full glory of colors. They had also the river in the background. They had the bandstand in front of them playing nice music, and they also had all the greenery of the park itself. So imagine how beautiful would it be for them. Okay, and the last thing,